Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. I haven't done a video in quite a while covering this. We're going to go over teams you can use on every demonic beast as well as the demons being, of course, Red Demon, Grey Demon, Howlix, Belmoth and OG Demon as well. We'll start with the demonic beasts because they're the ones that are probably quite more impactful if it loads. There you go. Takes a little while to load for some reason. But we'll start with Bird. So, let me just unlock this so we don't have to deal with that sound all the time, because it sounds kind of irritating. Okay, so with Bird, there are a few decent teams. This is, in my opinion, the best team for Bird, not only floors 1 to 3, but also floor 4 as well. There are a few substitutes in this video. I will go over a few substitutes maybe for each team, but if there are not any substitutes, I will not be going over them. I'm not going to be going super free to play, solely because certain content is not designed unless you have certain characters, so I'm not going to try and make up a team that I'm not sure is going to work if I haven't tried it myself. Once again, Boxy and Constellation is going to heavily apply to a lot of teams. So, this team, I used to run this team without Lolly Merlin, so this team immediately has a change out. If you don't want to use LR Lolly Merlin, let's say your team has not got enough bulk, normal Blue Magelda is actually really good. You've got the Cleanse, she's got Amplify and a Power Strike ultimate, which works really well on floor 4. When it comes to Xion, Traitor Melee is actually a really good one to use. He's just got really good damage, you've got damage reduction, he's got Amplify, he's got all the stuff you really want to use on Bird. When it comes to tier, it's just when you're looking at a team like this and you want to build synergy, you've got to look at the gimmicks. So Bird doesn't really have any gimmicks apart from floor 4 phase 3, where you have to use Amplify, Power Strike, or basically Thor skills, the effects that Thor has. So the way you want to build your team is a sort of around that, but also you don't want to go into the realm of too old characters because they're not good enough, or this team, as you can see here, has a lot of bulk. Of course, not everyone has the right gear on. No, they do. Don't worry, they do. I don't think maybe Merlin's got HP defense on instead of attack crit, but everyone else is running attack crit, which is it's fine because this is actually not too bad content. For example, with tier, we get 15% damage reduction per character, so 60% damage reduction. Xion can give us damage reduction. Got basic stats, damage reduction, I guess, for the first turn. Yeah, Bird's pretty simple. When it comes to floors 1 to 3, you can use most teams. I've made tons of videos on teams you can use. You can use demons, humans, fairies, giants. You can use all of them on just auto at this point. As long as you've got, let's just say, the new meta of that character. For example, meta giant, you've got Skull, you've got King of Dian, you're fine. For fairies, you've got King of Dian, you're fine. So there is a good thing about King of Dian. When it comes to unknowns, it's a little bit more iffy because they haven't had a festival in a little while, but they've still got some quite decent characters. So as long as you've got some of the older characters like Thor, LR Lolly Merlin, maybe even a few collab characters here and there. Even Beru is quite good as an unknown instead of a human for a change. But yeah, most teams you can just run away with no problem. When it comes to Deer, well, I'll unlock this again so we don't have to deal with the sound. There are many teams you can use. Once again, you've got to do the colour wheel, green, red, blue, so you at least need one of each. As you can see here, I'm running my floor 4 team, which I've been farming floor 4 with. And floor 4 and floors 1 to 3 complete different things. If you want to know a floor 4 team, this is it. You can have a look at it in. I made a video on it recently. You can go check that out. But when it comes to floors 1 to 3, as long as you have a green, blue, and red, you're fine. You can also bring a dark and a light character. They just don't contribute towards the cycle. Also, Skull is actually really good for floors 1 to 3. Also meaning that sometimes you can just completely skip phases because she does so much damage. She just insta-kills the phase, which means you don't actually have to do anything, you just save your counter for when you need it, and then it gets insta-killed, which is pretty handy. I'm not gonna lie, it makes farming even Deer just really, I don't know, it's not bad, it's not as painful as I remember it being, because I always used to hate farming Deer, but with Skull, it feels much easier and much better. But there are, once again, many teams you can use, but unfortunately you don't really want to go into the realm of Dark and Light. You can use Dark and Light characters, but I don't recommend it. Once again, Green Yorm is always going to be a character you can have on this team. She is the Demonic Beast Specialist character for this Demonic Beast, meaning her Relic and Green Yorm's passive only work in Deer, floors 1 to 3 and also 4 as well. Once again, with that, you can just switch out whoever you want. I recommend having it doesn't matter. The two characters you have, let's say you have a green and you've got a second green, that's fine. You got blue, you got another blue, red, or you got another red. You want to start and end your cycle with those colors, solely so you get like a full efficient cycle with it. So normally I run double green solely because when I used to run Yorm, her damage was so pitiful. I used to run someone else to sort of make up for the green damage. But I've sort of got so used to that, I normally stick with double green. Also, I like to stick with the realm of Ragnarok solely because floor 4, but also Ragnarok have a lot of synergy and a lot of wide range of characters, from UR bases like Thor to UR bases like Skuld. You know, a counter character who does damage based on remaining HP, but enemies remaining HP, and then Thor, who is solely built for insane DPS, and is sort of specialized for most demonic beasts. She works very well in most, if not all of them. But yeah, Bird and Deer is definitely where she can shine most of the time. Now on to the later 3 demonic beasts, which are, they're okay. Once again, we can have a look at team recommendations now. Yeah, Fairy team is really good. I recommend this team. If you don't have Alpha, so if you don't have Alpha or Beta, LR Helbram is also a very good pick. If you're missing both of them, I don't really know what you could do. Realistically, you know, you've got one, but let's say you're missing the other. That's fine. You can replace if you're missing both. Once again, you've got the solo leveling team, which came out a little bit more recently. Very good. Solo leveling team is good in most cases. Sadly, because Sung is dark type, he doesn't really work the best in Deer. Apart from that, he works very well in every demonic beast without fail, which is really cool. Actually, no, apart from Rat, he does show a little bit on Rat. Unknown, once again, is always going to be a good pick. As you see, most of these top teams are not using the demonic beast specialist character, which is Red Toner with her relic, also very good. But most people are just not using it because just not needed. This content is really easy. You know, if you've got, once again, passive cleansers here, a crazy DPS AoE team, you know, AoE, or double AoE, and a single target which has death damage, which is basically an AoE skill. You know, this team here has a cleanse character and a stance removal, so you can store as well as you can cleanse. Crazy DPS, good DPS. This team here, you know, passive healing, cleanse, ult control, death damage, crazy powerful AoE, crazy powerful single target. The fairy team is probably going to be your best bet. Once again, you can still use a more modern team or a more recent team like Demons here with these two teams. You can even go really old and still use Red Toner with a more unknown sort of Ragnarok style team. Ragnarok itself here is also quite a nice, viable team. You also run Giants like I recently did in a video. That wasn't too bad. I was actually quite surprised, but it does require you to have Skuld. It also requires you to have the new green Skadi as well, who some of you may not have because, you know, she wasn't a character you should really have prioritized when summoning, especially bear in mind we had a collab coming up. We have a collab coming up soon as well. You know, it makes sense more to save. Now on to Nidhoggr, where it sort of just becomes quite random. Oh, let me do that. This team does have a few substitutes, so this is, in my opinion, the second best team in the game. The best team in the game is the solo leveling team, which is extremely broken for it, and I highly recommend if you can make it. Beru is extremely incredible, crazy damage. Even when it's got max damage cap, he can still absolutely hit damage cap every time. But with this team, there are a few substitutes. Dark Mael you can substitute for Light Mael. Preferably have Light Mael's Relic. If you don't have Light Mael's Relic, it's going to be much harder. But Dark Mael's also extremely broken, and I highly recommend it. You got the damage lower, the attack related stat lower. He increases your all stats for your team, and his damage is just absolutely phenomenal, especially at level 1s. Red Freya, technically you can switch out for green as you're mainly using Freya for her Relic. With that, what her Relic does is, whenever you use a single target, it removes a stance. But the only problem, if you are going to use Green Freya, is it will make Floor 3 Phase 2 a lot harder, so do bear that in mind if you are going to switch out. You can also then switch out Red Margaret for Blue Margaret, but then in the process, it will once again make Floor 3 a tiny bit harder. You don't immediately start with the 40% basic stats like you do with Red Margaret, and she doesn't, you sort of lose a stance removal, because Red Margaret does have stance removal, which can be pretty handy a lot of the time. Card sets are always going to be the specialist card sets, so the reason why I haven't shown any of them, they're always going to be like the ones made for the demonic beast. But yeah, the best team is, once again, the solo leveling team. You can run, I guess, more funkier teams, like Demons have appeared, more sort of solo leveling teams, if you don't have Beru, that's once again another quite good team. Masno's got a shield, which can be pretty handy, and you can actually use the shield to negate the ultimate, the extort ultimate. Normally it does remove one person's buff at least, and then it extorts you AoE, which means the damage won't actually be that bad against you. People are also using Ragnarok with Skull as well, which is probably quite a decent team. You will see a lot of, yeah, and that's the team I was talking about, apart from you change this one and this one out. But yeah, there's not really many really good teams for Nidhogg compared to Dogs. Dogs has got a ton of teams you can use. Nidhogg is sadly very limited within your teams. You know, solo leveling or goddesses, you can use demons. You can sort of use a solo leveling hybrid team like we saw down there with like Mazano as like replacements, which is good. You know, there are replacements for some of the characters. But yeah, that is really it. Now on to Rat. Rat's got... It's very sort of a straightforward demonic beast, but as you can see here, you'll see a lot of the teams. So the best teams, the second best teams, like these are the two teams that I would recommend someone use. Once again, you've also got substitutes for Yorm, so there are substitutes for Yorm. It is either Glocks or Galland. Galland's not too bad. I recommend using Galland if you're going to use King and Diane, just so you can maximize Valenti's passive. If you were to use Glocks and King and Diane, you wouldn't be able to maximize her passive, which is not very good. You can use Thor. I used to use Thor at some point as well. You've got the sort of new team that lots of YouTubers are making videos on, which is a team where you don't really need Valenti. It is doable, but once again, it's not going to be for your average free-to-play player. It's probably... I've not watched any of those videos, just on people talking about it. But I might give it a go myself. I'm not too sure. Once again, you've got more older style teams. This is a team I wouldn't really recommend. But once again, if you don't have LR Galland, Glocks is fine, but you just don't get the HP related stat boost from her, which means you've got basically no lifesteal on this team, which isn't good, which is the reason why I always recommend, you know, either having Valenti's passive up or having Red Yorm, because you get passive lifesteal, which is something every demonic beast instantly removes. Cusac's not bad. I tried him in a video, but did I try him for a video? No, I don't think I tried him for a video, but I tried him out. He's okay. Would I recommend it? Probably not. Mazano, if you are going to use Mazano, he is quite good, but you will need Red Yorm. You will need this exact team if you are going to run it. Sadly, you can see a sort of a common trend on 99% of these teams, or 90% of these teams, only one team doesn't have it. You need Ella Liz. Ella Liz not only has buff removal, she's got cleanse, she's got insane healing, she's got basic stat boost, she's got attack related stat boost. She is going to be the character you are going to need to do Rat, of course, unless you're going to use this team. But once again, Boxy and Constellation are definitely going to sort of impact how this team plays out. But yeah, that is the end of Demonic Beasts. We're now going to go on to Demons. So Demons are... There's a lot more substitutes for Demons. Demons aren't too hard, they've sort of been perfected. So we'll go Hell. So for Hell, Red Demon, I'm just using a Fairies team. Fairies are really good. You've got crazy damage, basically can one-shot anything. Once again, all the card sets are going to be the specialist card sets. Once again, Fairies are really good. They've got lots of blue characters, so easy for them. On to Grey Demon. So this team here can basically two-shot Grey Demon. When I mean two-shot, I mean two skills. You do have to have attack crit Lolly Melon, which she currently is not wearing attack crit. But you just AoE first turn, and second turn, use her single target, and that's it. It's the entire Held Grey Demon done. You can solo it. It is extremely easy. Hell is there solely for the basic stats, and also two of her skills can also hit as well, which can be pretty handy. Especially, let's say, your Boxy or Constellation doesn't, and it means you can't one-shot. You know, Hell can also do a lot of damage, preferably with attack crit, but you can also run a HP defense as well. Okay, Howlix, it's just your standard sort of, like, DPS team. It's the only reason why I still use Lost Vein. You can use characters like Melum if you really wanted to. The reason why I run Lost Vein is so I can run Gotha. If not, you can't run Gotha because you need a character of a different race for her rank up. So if you're going to use like Melum, you need to find someone else as your sort of third. People sometimes go Kizuna or Viola solely for the fact of, you know, Viola gives you the buff, and you gets the multiplier on the buff, and so does she, so they stack, and you get crazy buffs. She's here because she makes buffs worth 1.5 times their value. She's literally like OG Viola. She came out quite a while, and she only works in the back, and for demons. So Viola's got a lot more use. Belmouth, once again, there's going to be several Belmouth teams. I like to run more of a support team, so that means my friends can use my bot, and it's okay, you know, they got support, they got upgrade, they got decent damage. But you can also run like full DPS teams. I'm pretty sure there was like an auto team with Boldir at one point, with Greenhawk and Oslo, and Wild, I'm pretty sure that was a team. Which, if it is, I might make a video on it, because I've always been interested in that team, and I've recently started leveling up Hawk and Oslo, so why not? But yeah, once again, Belma's going to be a very subjective team. You know, have you got, you know, is your friend running the support team, or, you know, you're both going to run DPS teams, because you can quite easily get away with DPS teams. I might actually even try Skuld for this, because her damage is quite good. You know, I can run Green Skadi, I can run Green Matrona, I can run some quite decent characters and see what the damage is like. Hell OG Demon is the exact same as my Howlix team. I just copy and pasted the teams from Hell OG Demon to Hell Howlix because it was just such a good team, and it's just so mindless. I can stick this on auto for most of the time, and you can easily do this with a bot. Once again, you can also run Millum, but you want to switch out Gotha for like either Kisner or, like I said, Viole, 2 characters that will enable her passive to work and will boost you in some other way. Kisner's probably the better bet because she does have a basic stat boosting skill like Viole, but when she ranks up, she gets an attack related stat boost for your entire team, which is crazy, especially with, once again, this lady in the back, which is pretty handy. And now on to Endura. So Endura is sort of a clean-cut team. There are 2 teams you can run. One is the unknown team with Blue Freya, which I don't have, so I don't actually know the team. And then there's another one, which is this team. So, there is only one change you can make on this team, and that is removing one of these 2, basically. If you, let's just say you don't have one of these 2 on your team, you can replace them. What that means is that you put Beta in the front, and then you put Blue Helbram in the back with his relic. Once again, it's completely up to the person you're playing with if they're willing to put up with it, so you'll have a lot less DPS. If you, let's just say you don't have Alpha, but you have a really high dupe lance, some people may think, okay, that's completely fine. But if you're more of a free-to-play player and your characters aren't as built, you should be doing this content in the first place, especially if your CC is not, let's just say, 360k plus without food. I don't recommend doing this content, because it's just not really worth it. That you don't gain anything out of it. Sadly, there's no special level 110 material. There's no sort of material that is really worth it apart from the Super Awakening coins, which you can farm from many other different avenues apart from this one. But yeah, that's it. I just wanted to make a video covering, I guess, my thoughts on certain teams you can use and the teams I currently use. Of course, they're not all very free-to-play friendly, and a lot of them are actually anti-free-to-play. But once again, a lot of content, as you can see, when it gets harder and harder and harder, is designed for players when they start to get higher box CC, or for long-time players like myself to challenge certain players. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.